Hey, I'm Shannon Manley with Pot of Gold Customs. We were able to bring our 1951 Mercury to SEMA this year. Our first year displaying a car. Very happy about that. And we got our guys here from Accudraft to do an interview with us on the car. All right, so some of the obvious features, clearly she's chopped. This had been chopped previously before it came to our shop, but it was done real poorly. It was tilted, back window wouldn't fit, glass is two different sizes. So we had to refit that. We had to move the back window back into place to get our flow back with the chop as well. Hardest parts about a chop is not the metal fab, in my opinion, is getting the stainless steel trim, vent windows working, so we have the vent and the rear quarter vent working at the same time. Windows go up and down smooth. All that stuff's probably the hardest part of a chop. Then you add in little stuff like the wipers. That makes it pretty hard. So traditional Mercury is everything's rounded and people shave drip rails. We broke a lot of rules with this car, so we kept drip rails. We kept some of the chrome. We kept door handles. I never even knew what these looked like. We even kept the keyholes. We removed all the trim from here down. It looked really bulky, didn't look like it belonged on the car. With part of the chop here, we wanted to keep not only the back window, but the trim that goes with it. We had to make some corrections, so this trim actually goes all the way to here on this car factory. So we cut it so that it actually fits right here even. It has a good finishing point with the trim here for the back window. Body and paint, always the first thing you see on the car. So lots of work here, lots of metal fabrication. We gapped and we fit everything all the way to a 3/16 gap. You see she's nice and straight down the side to each other. All the panels are level to each other. This paint color is Exalta. It's called European Greige, and we sprayed that in our Accudraft booth. Turned out great. We had very little dirt we had to sand, and that helped a lot for the process. All right, so at the back of the car, more rule breaking. We had to keep some cool stuff. I mean, this is just hot rod jewelry to me. So we actually had to buy 3 different units to actually make this function the way it's supposed to, but we got it all working. The rear bumper, we actually cut it about 4 different ways. So we cut the width out of it so we get our peak back. We capped the end of it, brought it in nice and tight with the gap, narrowed it, and removed the overrider and all the hardware for the overrider. But we did decide to keep the bolts, again, a little bit more traditional. Around the taillight, there's a big piece of trim that goes here, and that just looked too big when we got it all dialed in. So we just built a nice bucket, fit in the factory taillight, and just run a plain bulb behind it after. So up front, we got this big, ugly piece of chrome we removed up here, but we had to keep, again, just the jewelry. The logo is just perfect for us. We used a 52 DeSoto grill. A lot of guys just want to use the teeth, but we wanted to keep the turn signals and the whiskers and integrate it into the car. That turned out really clean, classy, adds to the front end. With the bumper, we tucked it in until we just covered the teeth, and then we cut the cap off and brought it forward to match the wheel well arch. We shaved the overrider off of this as well and removed the bolt holes from that too. So we wanted to do something pretty simple under the hood. We didn't want to do too much. We didn't want to clean up too much either. So you'll see like the American Auto wire harness here that I wrapped and laced. You'll see the low car hood release cable we integrated for our bear claw latch system. 383 stroker topped with Holley Sniper fuel injection using the Edelbrock intake manifold. We have a Power Master alternator, and Champion radiator provided us with a nice 4-row aluminum radiator for it. So keeping with the clean, classy exterior, we wanted the same thing on the interior. A couple things you notice is a Lincoln steering wheel that's been reworked, not only smaller in diameter, but to fit the GM column from Speedway Motors. And of course, you can see the beautiful Mercury Man floating in here. That red is actually what inspired the interior color you see. This is a Morin Giles leather. All interior work was done by Big O Fabrication. Fits real well as far as the class of the car. So for the dashboard, we wanted to keep 51. We didn't want to change it to the 49 or anything. So we even kept all the original dash knobs, switches, and actually the start button does work as the start button for the car. We did add a dash extension at the bottom for the vintage air conditioning, and we have our Airlift 3P controller for the air suspension. Keeping in the original theme, we even have the original parking brake handle that's integrated to the 4-piston Bear brake system, and the hood release cable works through a low car cable we had custom ordered from them. All right, so low car shift are really important that you have one of these in your car, I think. Not only is it just easy to use, it locks and it detents great, but having it in the car just adds to the class for us. Keeping with more is better, the seats are actually 67 Impala bucket seats, and the center console is a Mercury Comet Ford Falcon design. The rear seat is a factory seat, and all the door panels, quarter panels, all that stuff is actually aluminum So we wanted a good driving car, not just something that looked good sitting on the pavement. So under this bad boy is a Roadster shop chassis. This actually has air suspension, rides on airlift bags, and is stopped with bare 4-piston brakes and power brake system, all done by RS. So we've only had this car done about 4 months. We got around 750 miles on it already. We've also won some pretty big awards. So we got top 12 Custom of the Year finalists at Columbus, Ohio with Good Guys. Same show, we got top 10 Builder's Choice. A couple months later, we went to the Loveland Good Guys show, drove it from Colorado Springs to Loveland, won a top 12 GM Retro Iron Builder of the Year finalist, and then drove it back home. So we wanted to make sure she was a good driver, but we're actually breaking in some pretty good stuff. Even here at SEMA, we've been nominated for HRIA Award, Good Guys Gold Platinum Award. It's been overwhelming the amount of interviews we've done and just the accolades from people like Rick Dorr comes over and tells me it's his top 10 favorite Merc. So did John DiAgostino. To me, that kind of stuff is huge because we broke the typical custom rules and it's still respected as it should be.